Okay, I'm gonna finish. I guess I had to open the apps and uninstall a bunch of them. So that's how you do it. I don't understand this whole storage thing. Let's see, where was I? Then the thing attacked again, uprooting the tree where Madrone the bird perched. She flew high, but the higher she flew, the more the thing expanded. As a bird, she could barely escape it. She could not destroy it. She was losing energy, too weak to match the thing's strength or to try to grow it to its size. She needed to rest, and the power of the serpent, she knew, lies in shedding and changing. One skin for another, letting go and letting go, giving her own wings one long shake. Madrone squirmed free out of the bird skin, which fluttered empty to the ground as she shifted again, becoming very, very small. A fly hiding in the thistledown as the thing stumbled blindly about, searching. Cautiously she crawled down to the lock that clamped the thistle to the monster. Finding the keyhole, she made herself smaller and smaller until she could crawl inside. One by one she tripped the hasps of the lock. The clasp opened and the thistledown flew off. She could hear the monster roaring in rage. The sound reverberated through her. Her body ached and screamed with it, but she slowly crawled out of the keyhole and down the body of the thing, down plates of metal bolted together. It wheeled and turned, hunting for her. The surface was slick, but her fly feet clung tight, and her wings helped her keep her balance. She moved along its shiny surface until she came to what looked like a large lag bolt in the center of the thing's back. She needed a tool. She thought of the ocean again, the bright crescent moon shining just beyond her grasp. She needed hands to reach with, a form like her own human body that lay somewhere sweating and grasping, containing this battle. Mujer serpentine, mother of changes, let me be myself within myself. She shifted again, taking human form, clinging to the thing's back like a monkey. Again it screamed and twisted, spinning around and around, bucking and leaping, trying to dislodge her. She held on, but she could do nothing else. She couldn't reach the moonbow, couldn't change anything. The monster moved with terrifying force. All around them trees were crashing. The fabric of the cause was torn. It leaped up and slammed itself down on its back. Pain shot through her. She was crushed, unable to breathe, head and eyes throbbing. The forest was shattered, the beach pitted with chasms. Some part of her dimly knew what she was seeing, the chi world reflection of her own physical body's deterioration. Mm. Now holes were torn in the ocean. The water was sucked down into whirlpools, carrying the wind down with it, sucking the moon down out of the sky. Soon the light would go out, the ocean floor emerged dry, but she reached again for the moon as it sank, and this time she caught it, gripped it hard in her fist. In her hand, the moon bow became a crescent wrench. The thing rose up and began bucking and twisting, holding on tight to its back with her left hand. She fit the wrench to the bolts with her right hand and began to turn. The bolt was frozen in place and she began to feel despair. But she didn't have the strength to turn it. Her legs were cramping and her grip getting weaker. Sweat poured down her face. Mama, ya mama, Johanna, somebody, anybody, she whispered. Te suplico, I beg you, help me. She called up her last reserves of strength and poured them all into her arm, her grip. The monster threw itself from side to side. Her head was shaken back and forth until her neck ached with whiplash. But she kept pressure on the wrench. It seemed to move ever so slightly. The thing smashed down again, flinging herself on top of her. Once again, pain shot through her. Her left hand cramped to paralysis, as frozen as the thing's metallic claw. The wrench slipped off the bolt, and with enormous effort she slowly brought it back as the thing rose again, twisting and turning. The wrench kept sliding off the bolt. She wanted to scream with frustration, but when she managed to grab the bolt again and turn, she felt definite movement. She pushed harder, and the bolt moved a quarter turn. Now suddenly she had hope, and hope gave her energy. She turned the bolt again and again. The thing's pace began to slacken. It bellowed and thrashed, but its movements lacked something of their force. She hurt all over, but centimeter by centimeter, turn by turn, the bolt came undone. The end came suddenly. The bolt turned, the monster's head fell off and clattered to the ground. She was left sitting in a pile of metallic rubble and smell of acetone. Madrone sat still. She felt cool. In the physical world, her fever must not have broken. She had passed the crisis, but she was exhausted on every level of her being, as if her life force had been drained from her. She had won, but she wondered if she were going to be able to come back. Slowly she became aware that the landscape had changed. The forest and the ocean were both gone. Instead, she was in a place where all the lines of probability were gathered together, like many threads bundled into rope, like infinite paths converging into roads. 3 roads, the crossroads. She was in the place where 3 roads meet. Facing her, sitting on a 3-legged stool in the dust of the crossroads, was an old woman. She was dressed in a black cloak that seemed to shift and dissolve around her. She looked like La Vieja. But as Madrone watched, her face began to change, becoming scaly. Its bones were red and black like the flag of Guadalupe, Madrone thought. Hearing a soft sound, she looked down. The ground beneath her feet was alive with snakes, their iridescent scales gleaming and flashing as they glided along, their bodies making a soft sound on the dirt. Shh, shh, shh. And then she could hear them singing, their narrow tongues flickering in and out of gaping mouths. Mujer serpentine, cambia su piel, snake woman, shedding her skin. The sound of the chant wove in and out of a soft hissing and surrounded her, and the serpent's face that regarded her split down the middle. Beneath she could see La Vieja, Tiamat, dragon lady, snake woman, the form of Cotolusi, mother of the gods. They called, I'm totally butchering these names, Quixocotl, the midwife's patron. Her face chalk white as if covered with powdered bone. On her back, a cradle board tied with rainbow straps. Madrone dipped her head in respect. When she raised her eyes, Snake Woman had taken the cradle board from her back. She held it out to Madrone. Madrone reached inside the mouth of the cradle board, which was suddenly alive. A snake's mouth. A birth canal pulsing and pushing forth something her skillful hands could guide to light. But what she brought forth was not a live child, but a bundle wrapped in red and black cloth. Slowly she unwrapped it. Within was a black obsidian knife. Suddenly Madrone felt cold, as if bone dust already were falling